think this was a good tournament for Fees in general. I don't think that uh, I saw a couple matches of his. He didn't. He continues to have trouble holding serve. He had trouble
Yeah,
holding
that's
serve in this one here. I think if he gets through those little serving issues, he can have games where his service goes away, and his game's built on that first serve. I would love to see him dial that thing in a little bit more. I think he's a very classy player. I love watching him. He reminds me a lot of Scope in a lot of ways. He has that kind of big serve, big forehand. Nice back, athletic. Um, can
has presence as well. Like he has
great
presence.
presence,
He
boys, right?
moment
But
doesn't seem too big for him. Yeah,
right, and
yeah,
like
he's
feel
good.
like
He's good for
every match.
tennis.
I love the kid, good looking kid too. I just
Yeah,
feel like
hey,
I would
brother,
hate
that's sharp. That's a sharp brother.
seriously, man. I'm just
Hairline
and,
cleaner than the board of hell.
yes, sir. I love, and he thrives in that, right? It's like I just see him. You know, he needs to give Gail his barber. I'm sure they got the same barber over there. They got black
let
barbers
me
over in France, but
let me ask you this. Let me
yeah,
ask you this. You mentioned, I think, you know what? This is a great time to take a trip to Coach's Corner. I know we usually do it at the end, but I want to do it right now because you said something about Arthur Feast's serve, right? And that's one of the things, I think that's probably his biggest, the thing that's holding him back the most. And I feel like my coach's eye sees, okay, that toss is way too high, way too high. And we often talk about like consistency in the toss. We want it to be repeatable, but a lot of that is in partly in due to like how high we toss the ball. So can you kind of break down what you've seen in his serve specifically, and then what some of our players or coaches that are listening out there, like something that you could probably give them to help them with their own serves.
I'm going to talk technique first. First of all, he's got a great serve. I think his toss is a bit high. It makes him vulnerable in matches that are, especially matches that are hidden stadiums where the wind is swirling. Um, the tournament, and you know how Florida is, Alvin. I want to say I sent you a screenshot of it. It was like between 15 plus mile an hour wind up to 25-mile-an-hour gusts. So you're not going to ever get a long period of time where you have no wind in those kind of conditions. And you're Miami, you're right there on the coast. So good luck with that. The not only is it a high toss, I feel like with a high toss, as you go through the motion, you have to hold your load too long, and it's too
Right.
easy to miss time. The quicker the motion, the less breakdown. The shorter the toss, the quicker the motion, right? And I feel those are a couple of things for a lot of the players. Like, oh, he's got a nice little pinpoint. He brings his foot up. He has a nice action on it. He's a tall kid, taller, 6'1", not quite 6'2". He has good action, got a good arm. He's a strong kid, so he's gonna continue to get better with it. But in my opinion, if anybody would benefit from a more of a hybrid motion and a little bit of a shorter toss, to me, he doesn't have the number of aces that he should to justify the missed first. And then the second thing I'm going to talk about is tactics. And as a result, he doesn't seem to use the flat body near enough to really dial the target back in. A lot of guys out there, I see a lot of juniors just even in college. College, I think we almost go the other way. We don't use maybe one first serve a game, because you're trying to get that first serve and play and get the point started. But I feel like a lot of players, they will they will use a second serve for a first serve, but they're still going for the out wide corner. They're still trying to, slash out wide into the tree, into the side fence on the
Mm-hmm.
deuce. And you're like, the goal was to hit a first serve in, not to hit a lesser first serve to the same bad target. And that to me is really what hurts players nowadays is they're thinking, well, I didn't go for it because it wasn't flat. Well, you missed the first serve. You gotta have a flat serve that can hit a target 90% of the time. And to me, that's where your flat body comes in. And to me, especially in the men's game, if you've got a weapon for a serve, then that means on a bad day, it's still a strength. You've got to be able to dial in one of those serves, your great flat, your good kick, or or your slice that has to have a pretty dependable target. For most, that's the body serve. So between the technique, don't serve it, don't toss it too high. Too many things can go wrong. Legs can load too early, too little. The foot can come up, be a little off balance, just a few degrees front, back, or to the side. You're missing that first serve. You're missing
Right.
connection on it. And obviously with the tactics, bring those targets in, especially with a guy like Mensah, who's got pretty good returns. You don't need to give up a lot of missed first serve or or opportunities, or give up too many second serve opportunities when you know the guy's not missing many returns either. And that's
Yeah.
the last thing I'll say about big serving. Know who you're playing. I had a pretty big serve, Alvin. I had mine up to past 135. I think my highest was like 139 back in the day. I had a pretty good serve. I'm a tall guy.
Must be nice.
If I had returns, I might have been somebody, right? But the point I'm getting at is, I say it to say, but I had this innate sense going against players that had great returns. They never saw my bigger serves. Maybe occasionally on a second serve, I was up in the game. I may have thrown in a second flat when they moved in. I might have thrown a flat body at them at
Yeah.
125 just because I knew they weren't expecting it and I had the lead. But I knew the guy wasn't going to hit a winner on me in the return, and he wasn't going to miss returns. Why did I need to spend so much energy trying to get my ace through him? It took me a long time to learn that. I had to get to college before I really understood that. You know, Chuck McEwen, one of the lessons he taught me when I was at Georgia State, he was like, Hawkins, nice serve, but it's coming back. And the sooner you get through your head that it's coming back, the sooner you're going to get ready for that next ball. And I never forget him saying it. I'm thinking my serve's coming in slow. No, at that level, they all have returns. So
it's
you
coming
know
back,
what
yeah.
that means for the pros. So I feel like he just stubs his toe a little bit, Arthur. He gets that part fixed up. Again, lowers the toss, maybe a hybrid motion. You saw what happened to Madison. Let me talk about somebody who changed the motion a little bit and had some great success. Her motion's a lot shorter, a lot smaller.
Safer too. Like she's not double faulting anymore. Like, which
You know what
is
I'm
an
saying?
amazing thing.
And he continually runs into trouble with the serve. I don't care who he's against. That doesn't matter. It's him. It's toss. It's height. It needs to be simplified. Sooner the better between toss, between target. But either way, that's the biggest thing for him to kind of get down
And the
and really
height,
dial in.
the height of the toss thing, and I just want to make sure people can kind of conceptualize this. Like, we talk about time a lot here, right? And
Yep.
what, like, you know, the amount of time that you have to get certain things done in between, you know, certain parts of rallies. But in the serve, it's almost the same thing, right? Like,
100%.
you have to go through your entire service motion from the time the ball leaves your hand and the time time you actually make contact with the ball. So, like, you think about how long a service motion takes. It doesn't take that long. So, like, the toss doesn't need to be that high. Those two things need to be matched perfectly. You don't want too much time. You don't want too little time. And it's very hard to give yourself too little time to hit a serve. So it's like, you often hear coaches say, like, the easiest way to fix a serve is to bring that toss down. Don't toss it as high, because like you mentioned, you don't want to get to any part of the serve and have to stop and lose energy. Yeah, you want to keep that thing moving. Yeah,
I used to tell the expression with my juniors. I probably told you this. Your serve is leaking power. You know,
yeah.
The longer you wait, the further out, too far you hit it. You're leaking power. You know, and the longer you have to hold that load, the more you have to work on timing it. All those are moments where you are leaking power and you're not really connecting. You're not getting that snap at the true apex that you could.